Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another installment of the Council of One's Babylon 5 review. And I am, as always, your host, the Ambassador. And with me today, I've got my fellow council members, Mountains of Elysium, Classic Comics, and Fiona Wolf. Lays and Germs, how are y'all doing?
Doing well. Glad to be here.
Doing great.
Yes. I got caffeine. I'm functional, somewhat.
I'll be functional eventually. I'm partially functional, so. Well, and as the title indicated, folks, we are covering the episode All Alone in the Night. And as the description said, we've got an abducted captain, we've got a ambassador in crisis. So all sorts of fun stuff to discuss in this one. So guys, I open the floor. Where do you want to begin?
Everybody's all alone in the night. In different ways.
And 2 weeks in a row, one of the main characters draws trouble on themselves. Why did Sheridan say, what could go wrong?
Indeed. Anytime you say what could go wrong, something invariably goes wrong. And to the chat very quickly, Lewis Sparrow, good to see you. Glad you're here, and good evening to you as well. So, but yeah, this episode, we have a major plot development. We have with specifically with Ambassador Delenn. We've got the whole vision scene with Sheridan, where he sees Ivanova and Garibaldi and Kosh, and all sorts of fun stuff pops up into this episode. So,
you are the hand, and that look on his face is like, what? Why is Ivanova talking so strangely to me?
And of course, Kosh goes, "You have always been here, just like I have."
Yeah, this one's interesting because the A plot of Sheridan being abducted really isn't important. It's kind of just a one-off thing, but the subplots going on are far more important.
This is true. Yeah. I mean, of course, you go ahead, Fiona, please.
It has our favorite Narn that will make a repeat, viewing later on, even though he doesn't have a name technically right now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Talon.
Likewise.
And I think he played by Marshall Teague, who was in the episode. I forget the name, but the one where the ancient sort of organic weapon takes control of the guy and sends him on a rampage.
It might be.
That's him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Elysium, please.
No, see, he was the guy who went on the Infection. He was the guy who went on the rampage.
Takara is dead. No, it isn't. Takara is alive. Yes, it is. It's dead. No, it isn't. It's alive. Shut up. You're wrong. Classic political conversation going on right now. Sorry. Oh, mercy. But yeah, of course, you've got the whole situation with Delenn. She has to go before the Great Council, and they're acting like a bunch of stuck up sticks in the mud with no humor. And they're like, "You look different now. You can't be on the council, and you're bad and smelly."
Oh, wait. The balance of power has shifted. Nerune's on the council? What? Nani?
Yeah, no.
And the fact that he had the reaction, when they told me why we surrendered, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's like, oh, shit.
I'd have asked kind of, you knew this whole thing was a mistake. Why would you continue the war? But that's Minbari philosophy. We won't admit we're wrong.
Which brings to light when Franklin was telling Ambassador Delenn, like, what did you do during the war, Ambassador? I kind of started it. Oh.
Oops, I'm sorry. I kind of mistakenly told my people to almost massacre and commit massive genocide over your people because one guy died. We're not particularly bright as an alien species, even though we have great big massive ships and we look really advanced. We're kind of dumb. We need a little bit of Vulcan restraint. Because at least when the Vulcans or anything do something dumb, they really think it over before they do it.
Man, all that stuff kind of puts into light, like, man, the things that Sinclair knew, and then he got shuttled to the past. It's like, crap, I can't even warn anyone.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Captain America scenario in Endgame, which will. How the heck did I? Never mind. I don't forget it.
Sinclair could have Marty McFly them with Back to the Future 2 when they sent the letter forward. He could have sent it a little earlier, saying, lads, watch out for these guys.
Although I guess he could have been frightened by the fact, like, if I tell anybody certain things, well, how much will that badly change history? I don't want that on my hands. What if Ivanova will never exist because of me?
Or what if Garibaldi never exists?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if...
I have a theory that the Vorlons were always manipulating the main characters to ensure they followed the path that Sinclair remembered when he goes back so that they could not deviate off it. It's why Sheridan started getting the visions. It's why Sinclair was picked out of the lineup. It wasn't random that Delenn pointed to him. She was manipulated just as he was. So I think he couldn't have tried even if he wanted to.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, it always amazes me. As I said, an advanced alien race like the Minbari, and they just go completely haywire because one guy dies. One guy.
Well, the Minbari, they're interesting in that because they do have this sort of enlightenment about them.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like the elves of this setting. There's some obvious parallels between Babylon 5 and Lord of the Rings. And they're kind of like the elves, this sort of elder enlightened race who are wiser and more knowledgeable than everyone. But they also have this real streak of racial superiority to them.
Yes.
And they're very touchy about their racial purity and all that. So, it's one of the interesting things about the setting is because they're morally in a way kind of gray, which is kind of appropriate since they're leaders of the Grey Council and all, because they do have their positive and negative traits. And, and most of the characters and races are like that.
Well, that in season 4 does come back to haunt Delenn with that aspect, like being able to marry Sheridan, why the war started, what kind of guilt she was carrying around about Dukat and everything. Yeah.
And, to be fair, I mean, when Neroon sort of confronts Delenn and he talks about how arrogant she is that she thinks she's fulfilling this ancient prophecy and all that, I mean, we know that she's in the right, but if you don't know that, you can look at this argument and it makes sense that she's kind of this, and it's, I think, one that gets made later in the series where she's being described as this religious fanatic who's grasping for power, and you can kind of see the point.
Yeah.
Now, we know she's right, so we don't agree with it, but if you don't have that information.
Yeah.
It would be interesting I think we've all seen this show a few times, but your first time watching it, how would you have felt? I mean, I think we've grown attached to the character at this stage, but would you start going, maybe there is an element of that to her? Because we've seen Londo and Jakar flip a bit too in character. So it wasn't beyond the bounds that another major character could turn in another direction.
Yeah, very true.
Ooh,
Well,
and even Lanier following her, you kind of get to see his own aspect as how he treats Delenn. There's more to him than he's just her friend. He wants to be more than that. You could already tell.
more than friends, more like lovers, or however the song goes. Like Lanier's got a soft spot, or
yeah, this is kind of the first time I think we kind of get hints of that, of his affection for her that goes maybe a little beyond just loyalty.
Yeah, he has. Go ahead, Elysium, please.
Sorry, Ambassador. No, I think it's
No,
in the
sorry.
ceremonies of Light and Dark where he mentions to, oh God, I can't think of his name. Marcus, sorry, that we are better than you. We are more, and my love for her is more pure. So he is really getting an unhealthy affection for Delenn, even at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perfectly valid. But you work with somebody for a while, that sort of thing can happen. I can't speak from that because I can't speak from personal experience, but it can happen. But the thing that the thing about this episode is the whole dream sequence with Sheridan when he's there on that alien ship, and you get a lot of plot threads dropped.
Mm-hmm.
The man in between is looking for you, and I think that's. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that a reference to Sinclair?
It was either that, or it could have stood for Morden, or even the guy that Sheridan met on the Shadow Homeworld.
Yeah, I believe it was the guy. I forget his name, but yeah, the older guy that he met on Zahadum. I think that's who that was supposed to be. I think
the guy who
there's an episode later where
Delenn.
Delenn kind of clarifies that, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that might be who you're talking about. So, but then of course, you are the hand. Okay, that's a little on the nose. It seems a little corny and a little cheesy, even for a sci-fi show, honestly. But it's Go ahead, Fiona.
But sometimes the symbology works. It could be one thing at first, or mean multiple people. That's how some shows develop, which I find fun, because I guess because he had to keep all the plot threads kind of going, depending on whether or not somebody would leave.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we get a visit from our favorite General Haig, and everything with the Joint Chiefs. And I always like this actor, regardless of what he's in. He's always done good stuff. At least I think he has, and everything. And we
Robert
get
Foxworth.
Yes.
Oh, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was
there's
interesting because on here he plays, a general who's trying to get to the bottom of a conspiracy, basically trying to get to the bottom of a attempted military coup on Earth.
Yeah.
But around the same time, he was on Deep Space Nine, where he played a Starfleet admiral who carries out a military coup on Earth. So,
very true. Well, the thing about this episode is we finally get some insight as to what's going on back on Earth and what Haig represents, and Sinclair. I'm gonna start putting a jar and put $1 in every time I call Sheridan Sinclair.
I'm sorry I started that one.
Just like what the actor. He's like,
this
is Sinclair. No, this is Sheridan. Oh, dang it.
This is your fault, Elysium. I blame you.
Yeah,
but Sheridan lets everybody in on what exactly is going on back home, particularly with the death of Santiago, and we have that scene at the end where you've got Garibaldi and Franklin already there, and Ivanova's like, "I'm here." He's like, "Yes." She's like, "Yes, what? I'm here." And Ivanova's always ticked off. Okay, she's not always ticked off, but she's always testy, for lack of a better term. And she's like, "We're going to send you with a full escort." He's like, "No, this is routine. I'm just going to go alone." She's like hell you are. You're going with an escort. Or she's like, "We'll send somebody else." He's like, "If I don't go, I'm going to lose my flight pay. I got to get every time I can get out of the government." Can't blame him.
Yeah, that I like that little bit. It was very believable. I got to keep doing this or they'll cut my pay. So
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Ivanova's probably like the way she is because she's always explained it before. She's Russian. She expects it.
yeah,
Yeah. For a person who isn't actually Russian, Claudia Christensen did a great job playing a Russian. I'm just glad they didn't try and make her do some sort of phony Russian accent, which very few people, if you're not actually Russian, doesn't work. So, and real quick to the chat, Superior Hero Reviews. Good afternoon, my friend. We're just talking B5 as always. It's Wednesday afternoon. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. It's party time. Excellent.
And I'm even watching this in the background right now, and Sheridan just got probed. That poor man.
That's what she said.
Hey, wait, the Stripe don't have a good dental plan. Oh my god.
Yeah, that probe was freaky looking. It had like 2 saw blades on it. Had something else.
A blobby looking thing.
That looked like it was a probe of some sort, and I'm like, get that thing away from me. This episode really hones in on the whole classic abduction and probing and cutting and general unpleasantness of alien abduction very well.
I think it was
of course.
Sorry, Ambassador.
No, Elysium, go ahead. It's fine.
No, I think it was that the Stribes are actually named after was a Whitney Strieber. And
yeah.
He also named an evil race in some of his books after JMS.
The Straczynski?
The Strats or so. I think it was Strat. I can't remember what it was, but I do remember it was at JMS mentioning them. That it was as an in-joke between the two of them.
I didn't know about that.
I didn't either. Fascinating. To quote another famous alien. But, it's... We had a reference, I think, in season 1 to somebody who was abducted by aliens, and they were before, I think, one of the judge and everything or whatever it is on B5. And he's like, this alien completely ruined my family's life, and I demand reparations. Well, they definitely get reparations on the Stripe. They blow their ass up.
Yeah, and they can't communicate with him because he tries to. He holds up like these cards with like crop circle designs on them.
I know.
And they're like, can someone get a translator in here?
Can somebody get me a translator in here for crying out loud? I do. I love any episode. I love any show that makes light of the whole alien abduction nonsense and everything. And it's just... you got to admire Boxleitner's expressions on his face and everything during that particular scene. He's really playing up like, oh crap, I'm about to be probed. I don't want to be probed. Probing is bad, especially if they at least take you out to dinner first. I'm sorry, I don't need to go there.
No flowers, no chocolates, only an angry Narn and his Drazi.
I'm sorry, guys and gals. I really am. I'm kind of slap happy this afternoon. It's been a long week. Alien abductions. They are never fun. Especially if you're on the receiving end. And who knows? For all we know, maybe they don't enjoy them either. We don't know. Until they come down with little ships, and we're just going to imagine them as green and bleeping or beeping or whatever sound they make. Of course, at this rate, they may be like, we're never going down there. They're all crazy. Let's just leave them be. No more probings. No more abductions. They're all just nuts. And they move on to the next planet. And they start probing aliens from that world.
And from the thing, they grabbed quite a few.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, good grief. And not to mention, not only were they probed, but those poor aliens were spaced. How dreadful.
I mean, I had a feeling that this race was trying to make like kind of like genetic weapons or something. Just kind of like that crazy race that sent that nuclear bomb to ask all those questions. It's like, Jesus, man.
Oh, back in season 1, yeah, where they're all actually really stupid, but they don't want you to they don't want you to know that they're stupid.
Now, I wonder if that is true because Sheridan, the Drazi just disappeared in front of Sheridan, and there's no transporters in this universe. So he must have had some missing time where they blanked him, walked in, took the Drazi, and then put in Talon.
Yeah.
Because Talon just appeared in the room and the
Yep.
Drazi disappeared. So something must have happened. That's something that always, I think that doesn't seem to fit in this setting. But if there is missing time and goes along with the Greys,
well,
that wouldn't need.
There was a flash, so and I know the Vorlons could do kind of mind trickery and everything, so you never know.
Yep.
Well, and here's the interesting thing. I don't think that the Stripe were just working for themselves. Something tells me they were working for a shadowy figure. Sorry, I don't know why I did that.
He's the ultimate man in black. Whee!
No, it was marsh gas.
No, it was a weather balloon. Fun story from my mother's childhood, actually. They saw a weather balloon once, except it had lights, it had a door, and it made no sound. And she actually saw, well, her and everybody in the neighborhood saw a figure. And then somebody came along, they're like, nope, it was just a weather balloon. They're like, weather balloons don't have doors. And they sure as hell don't have weird flashing lights. So, stuff it.
And poor Lieutenant Ramirez stayed alive just long enough to be like, the captain is in danger.
Yeah, poor guy. Didn't even get to correct his 30 credits. And it's amazing. Even in the future, we still argue about baseball. Well, we argue about sports. But
and Helen Keller.
And Helen Keller. Well,
I love that interaction.
Go ahead, Elysium.
I was saying I love that interaction with Garibaldi, Franklin, and Ramirez.
Now, why couldn't it have been Warren Kiefer that got radiated and died? I'm sorry. The guy, I don't generally criticize Babylon 5, but the guy was a useless character.
Yeah.
And I just realized the guy that plays Ramirez, he's in A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one. And I realized this because I just saw Nightmare on Elm Street last weekend at the theater. And I looked it up on IMDb, and it's the same guy. So, although he's actually under a different name.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, 2 franchises. He gets axed both times. One time by a guy with a knife for fingers, and in another one he gets irradiated. And very quick to the chat, LDG Pixels. Good afternoon, sir. Glad you could pop in for a visit. Glad you're here. Fiona, you can say this stuff out loud.
Oh no, I do sometimes, but I'm also drinking a lot of coffee right now. I don't want to make noises into the pickup. But I've gotten to the part where Naroon's like being all saucy. It's like, oh, of course, we'll send you back to your Babylon 5. Jesus.
Naroon has a face that you just want to punch and punch and punch and punch some more. He's just okay. If you get this reference, it is okay. I've used this quote before. You're not particularly well liked. You dress in the manner of a male prostitute. You try to be witty and insulting, but your insults just come off as cliches, and nothing is provocative. Nothing isn't interesting.
Oh, but man, I still find it funny that even when all this stuff's happening with Grey Council, they're like, worker cast who? Because there was really never any named worker cast characters in the series.
I know, right?
It's like one worker cast.
Yeah,
Worker
they're pretty much an afterthought.
Yeah, Worker
it's only-
Cast always gets the shaft. They're
Like
like,
it's only in season 4 that there's actually worker cast named.
yeah, when they reform the council, and
Yes.
the Worker Cast finally gets a fair shake.
Yep, I think they dubbed 5 of them from the worker cast, but it's like, wait, named worker cast people? It's too bad you couldn't have somebody from that cast be like a partial character some of the time.
Yeah, just
Like,
not somebody in a big gray robe.
I think the City of Sorrows book, I think, had 1 or 2 named worker cast people in it, but that's about it. Oh,
Well,
man.
and I think the whole fight with the Stride was very cathartic for Delenn. She's like, I am going to pretend that you're Nehruin and that other jackhole that is the leader of the Great Council now, and I'm going to blow you straight to Membari hell.
Stop
Or
doing
Stride
the
hell.
And there's even that part where you remember the last time you came into our territory, they tracked me back into their home world and went like, "Oh God!"
And we spanked you like a redheaded stepchild. Sorry for any redheaded stepchildren in the chat or on the panel. My apologies in advance.
But it makes me wonder, though. They
No,
went that far.
At least if you
I'm
said
not redhead,
something.
but I am I'm not a redhead, but I am a carrier. A lot of my family are redheads. But
Okay, well, I mean no disrespect to redheads. My wife is
no,
actually
I've said it to him.
okay.
I was just thinking about that battle. It's something I noticed that had Sheridan not sent out the SOS, Earth Force were firing on escape pods.
Mm-hmm.
Ivanova held them off. So that's actually a worrying thing. Even the good guys were not so good. And they repeated what Delenn did by brutal animals, killed them all.
Yeah.
Ivanova pretty much shadowed what, and I mean shadowed what Delenn did to start the Earth Membari War, where she said kill them all, wipe them out, even those trying to escape.
Yeah, but in this case, the Stripe aren't a pleasant race, and they deserve to get their asses blown straight into whatever hell they believe in, or if they even believe in hell. That'd be interesting if aliens actually believe in hell.
Although it kind of showcases, it's like, wait. So the Minbari kicked this tribe back to their home world, but didn't flatten them into oblivion. But with Earth, just because of one guy, they went keel haul. Like, oh my God. Yeah, it's an interesting comparison.
Indeed. A lot of extremes. Oh, you just kidnapped a few of us. We're just going to kick you back straight to your planet. You killed one of us! You killed our leader! You all deserve to die! Jeez. Can't y'all find that? Go ahead, Classic.
I was going to say, you're right. They are kind of a people of extremes. They tend to be extremely, they're isolationist, but then on the right circumstances, they'll become, extremely aggressive and violent.
Oh no, I just had a bad thought. What if the Vorlons pushed them to do certain things, though, against their better judgment, just so they could set things up just so?
I wondered that too, because it's not, if we're looking at the Minbari outside of, they don't really go to two extremes with other cases, like with the Stribes, like with other races, that they really went to town on Earth, and that was the only way they would have gotten Sinclair and found him. So, yeah, I think the Vorlons have been pushing things.
Yeah, but there could have been an easier way to find Sinclair. Just, establish diplomatic ties and just go like, we want to do this thing where we flash this weird triangle thing in front of you. Just make it like, hey, here's an idea. Establish diplomatic ties between Earth Force and the Minbari. And then you go, we have this welcoming ceremony where we flash this little triangular thing that glows in front of you. It's just our way of saying hello. And then when it glows a certain, it's Sinclair. They're like, Valen, it's Valen. We found Valen. Everybody, we found him. Hi, Valen. We missed you. And he's like, what?
Although I guess in a one way they had to do it this way because otherwise the Babylon stations would have been developed, and then Babylon 4 would have been able to. Oh God!
No, they could still build the stations and be like, "Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we build a really big ass station, and then we'll keep trying until we get it just right, and then." They'll be like, "Oh yeah, we need to build one so it goes back in time, but we can't tell the humans that. So let's just go ahead and do it. We'll help them fund it and everything, and build." And you get Babylon 4, it gets sent back in time, and then they build. Okay, we are going to try this one more time, but this one will get right. And they get it right, and we get Babylon 5, and then everything just goes la 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 la. See, I just solved the whole Earth Minbari war. Nobody dies. Everybody's happy. Everybody's good. They get Valen back. They get the station. They get Babylon 4 so they can go fight the Shadows and kick their butt in the distant past. And everything's groovy except for the fact that the Shadows are still around. The Vorlons are manipulating everybody. And, well, Kosh still dies, which sucks ass.
So Home Guard would never have got as many recruits, so there is that.
Yes, totally. Wow, one little plot point that I fixed or we fixed or anything that J. Michael Straczynski didn't think of. Massive war where all of Earth is actually threatened, or diplomatic ties. Bloody, massive, horrific war.
Well, there's another bright spot about this episode. Sheridan's old ship helps rescue him. That's a good ship.
And can I just say, the name Agamemnon, when it's attached to anything, is awesome, always, ever. I mean, let's just face it. Agamemnon may have been a tyrant, but he had a kick-ass name. Not to mention Brian Cox's Agamemnon and Troy. Man, that was a great movie. Why have I not reviewed that movie yet? I don't know. I just need to. I'm sorry. I'm like I said, I'm a little slab happy. It's been a long week, and this is my catharsis. This is me releasing all my goofy tension. And I was talking about. Go ahead.
I just wondered though, what made Sheridan's mind calm enough to be able to hear Kosh now? After what? Did he get the shit beat out of him before he could hear Kosh?
I'm like, yeah, okay. The Vorlons are supposed to be like uber advanced, thousands of years old beings that have advanced telepathic ability, and Sheridan has to be beaten half to death for Kosh to be able to communicate with him telepathically. What the actual hell? What in the name of Vorlon hell? Again, if Vorlons believe in hell.
I mean, sure, he could have given him a wedgie or something on the station, and that would have started it all.
Like poor Talia, give him a nudge.
Sheridan. Oh. Yes? Ow! Kosh, what the hell, dude? What's with the wedgie?
And why hang me from the ceiling?
What wedgie? You just gave me a wedgie. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. You totally gave me a wedgie, Kosh. What the hell?
Although I find it interesting that Garibaldi speaks the line, "The man in between is looking for you," because Garibaldi turns out he's in between stuff, especially when he becomes Bester's basically puppet.
Well, there's another term we could use. He becomes Bester's bitch.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, snap. So Garibaldi is also a kind of man in between.
Council of Ones After Dark. Anyway, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. I don't usually go off the rails like this. Oh. Anyways, is there anything else about this episode that we wanna hit upon before it hits upon us?
Well, this is the first episode where we get confirmation that there really is something sinister going on with the government of Earth. We've had hints of it before.
Yeah.
But this is the first time it really gets laid out that there's been a coup, basically that Santiago was assassinated and that Clark was behind it. And, there was more to it than that. And it this is where the whole kind of eventual conflict with Earth really kind of gets started in a serious way.
Yeah, very true.
And Franklin and Garibaldi didn't even hesitate. Yeah, straight away. Ivanova pretty much straight after, but I think that was more out of loyalty to Sheridan than initially than wanting to go against Earth.
Yeah, I could see that. I think. Go ahead, Fiona.
Ivanova is pretty much like once she becomes somebody's friend, she's pretty much loyal to that person unless something really drastic happens.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, especially I think it's in season. Yeah, it's in season 4. And I know I'm jumping way ahead. I don't care. Most everybody here knows the show. If you don't know the show, plug your ears. When Garibaldi lures Sheridan in and allows Earth Force to abduct him, and the report comes in, and she's sitting on the bridge of one of the White Stars, and I to this day it was jaw dropping to me because this phrase, this cuss word, wasn't used on TV before. Notify everyone that son of a bitch Garibaldi is to be shot on sight. And you're like, I was like, I looked up because me and my mom were watching it. I'm like, did she say what I think she said? She's like, yeah, she did. I'm like, because you heard people use the word bitch on TV, but you never heard anybody use the phrase SOB. Like, wow. Straczynski went for it. And I guess in this instance, it was warranted.
Yeah, I was going to say it's appropriate in this instance.
Yeah.
From Ivanova's perspective, oh boy, he was.
So, but yeah, honestly, this does kind of start the whole plot line of there's something rotten in Earth Force, and it's a guy with no chin and no hair.
Well, technically, at the time he was voted in with Santiago, he had multiple chins, according to Ivanova.
Or was she saying that about Santiago? I can't remember.
Well, she said Santiago had no chin, and his vice president has several.
That's right. Yeah. So he has no chin and he has no hair. Basically, he's like a character from Labyrinth.
Remember.
He's one of the little goblin creatures from Labyrinth.
Actually, the way this episode pretty much starts showing you that both Earth and Minbar have their own grumblings that are going to cause factions later on.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The Earth and the Earth Force and the Minbari, they're both acting stupid. Of course, the Minbari a little more so. I mean, we're human. We're allowed to. They're technologically advanced. They're thousands of years more advanced ahead of us. They're supposed to be smarter. And yet, they act monstrously dumb.
And in essence, in this episode, we got a coup d'etat in the Minbari where the warrior caste pretty much take over the council.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing. Didn't really think about this, but this is kind of where the beginning of the Minbar Civil War comes from, really. I hadn't even really thought of that before.
Yeah, that's true, too. Yeah, the warrior caste goes, you all little puppies now. You go do what we say. And the workers and the religious go, up yours. Screw you. We have just as many ships and we're willing to fight. You all just want to sit around and talk tough. Bunch of punk ass.
Although even the warrior cast was having friction within itself. You know, the Star Riders clan and everybody else was at odds with each other.
Yeah.
So it's like damn, man, it's all just coming apart like that one poem.
Pretty much. So
I wonder if just from Sheridan's talk, what would you have done if you were if he called you to the room? Okay, there's something rotten in Denmark. I like to think personally I would go along with him, but I don't know.
Say that one more time, Elysium.
I'm wondering what decision would you have made to go against Earth? They're pretty much setting up a conspiracy or a coup in that room where we may have to use violence to win back Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, what would you have gone along? Now, we know in the long run, Franklin, Garibaldi, and Ivanova made the right decision, but at this point, it may not be as clear. And would you have gone along with them?
Mm-hmm. I'll let Fiona and Classic answer first, and then I'll give my 2 cents. So,
well, I think that you see scenes like this from time to time where they'll have some character say, he's going against the legal authorities or the government or whatever, and we'll say, are you with me? If you aren't, then go now, because otherwise, you won't be able to later. And of course, everyone says, yeah, I'm with you. And I mean, I understand why it has to play out that way, but I always find it a little contrived that no one ever is like, no, I don't agree with this, and I think it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically, Corwin is the answer to that. Most of the regular Earth Force people were loyal to Earth Force and, protecting the station. So that's the reason why Sheridan and the command crew didn't really bring them in on the overall conspiracy aspect.
Right. So go ahead, Fiona.
But I would probably join up with them, because it's like, come on, they're basically breaking apart, their version of the freaking Constitution, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I would need more proof. I would need more evidence before throwing in with them.
And I think that's a very pragmatic answer, Classic, and everything, and I can't say I disagree with it. As for myself, if these are people that I've worked with for a decent amount of time, and I know them to be people of good character, and they say, hey, something's rotten, and my instincts are good enough to go, something's not right here. I mean, okay, let's just be candid here. Was everybody just taking stupid pills the day that Earth Force One exploded, and Clark just conveniently said, "Oh, I don't feel so well. I need to leave." I'm like, hello.
I have a feeling that Clark started turning the wheels on people even well before that, like right before the president got KO'd. Because when Sheridan was captured later on, it was kind of implied that the centers long before that were already getting the screws put to them.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Even if you're not getting the screws put to you by Clark, and you're in the Earth Force military and the Earth Force government, you're going, wait just a damn minute. I think somebody might be lying. And I think he has no hair and no chin. Let's go arrest his ass. Or at least at the very least, let's at least go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised if Psycor put in more sleepers where they got activated, and just like what happened with Talia, the original person was gone, and then somebody that's like a crony for Clark ended up being the fake personality coming to the forefront. I wouldn't put past Psycor. They were shifty.
You're not wrong there.
And I believe the death of personality, that's done by a machine, not by a telepath. So they even don't need Psycor. They can actually do it mechanically. So it is plausible there are a lot of people who have been manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
Come in here and take take a test. Do you have the beer bug? You'd sit in this chair and look at the screen. You don't know.
Yeah, that's true too. So, well, guys, if there is anything else, I think we're going to go and wrap up here and everything. And hey, great conversation. We got a lot more out of it than I thought we would, and I'm glad for that, truly. So,
actually, there's a small thing. It's not Babylon 5, but Claudia Christensen is actually starring in a new series on Netflix, an animated series called "Was it Blood of Zeus?" It was just released in full yesterday on Netflix.
Well, Netflix is dead to me after what they did. After what they did, after what they did with that little film, and then canceling Dark Crystal. Netflix, you are dead to me. HBO Max and on occasion Disney Plus. I want nothing to do with Netflix.
I would say then pick up like the DVD, or if it's going to have a release later, probably do that, because it looks like it would be more important to have physical media in the future.
Yes, I agree. I wholeheartedly
By the
agree.
way, I just saw earlier today a story online. Apparently, Amazon is making a legal argument that basically, people who stream shows, you don't really own what you're streaming. They still are the legal owners of it. So another reason to go ahead and get stuff on physical media if you really want it.
Yeah, that's the plan. We try and get as much physical media as possible. So anyway, well, guys and gals, I want to thank everybody that was in the chat: Louis X Sparrow, Superior Hero Reviews, LDG Pixels, and the rest of you that were lurking, either listening to this because you're at work or whatever, or just being, antisocial, or just you don't have the opportunity to join in the chat. I appreciate you all being here as always. And as always, I appreciate the rest of my council members, Mounts of Elysium, Fiona Wolf, Classic Comics. Guys, this is always Wednesday afternoons is one of my favorite times of day. So, and I appreciate y'all being a part of this, obviously. So, if there's anything you want to plug real quick before we sign off, and then I'll do my deal, and then we'll sign off. So.
Okay, well, I'll plug my channel right quick. Classic Comics. I review comics and as well as TV and film as well. Just posted reviews for the latest issues of Batman and Iron Man earlier this week.
Ooh,
and I'll have a review of the latest issue of Three Jokers coming here probably today or tomorrow.
Excellent. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Three Jokers. I might see about picking it up when it comes out in trade paperback. Because a lot of the channels, a lot of my friends are reading it and they're saying it's really good. So I'll check out your review and everything. So, but folks, if you're not subscribed to Classic already, get over there and do so. Elysium, Fiona, is there anything you want to plug for yours before we sign off?
With my channel, I review a bunch of independent stuff, go off the beaten trail, and I murder the English language on a daily basis with my own serial. Yay!
Don't we all? Don't we all? Alicia, what's your next project you got coming up, bud?
I'll be working on a video on the reading order for the Chronicles of Narnia.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a couple of other projects I'm working on in the background as well, but as I've been booted out of my home office, that might take a little longer than I was hoping.
So did you decide to do it in chronological order or order of publication?
That's actually kind of the idea, that the which order should it be read in, and it's not really a spoiler, but my idea is that the first time reading is publication order, because it's a much more rich experience when you read through it in that way. And after that, then the story. There's no spoilers. Chronological order then works as a better way to read it through.
Okay.
Outstanding. We'll look forward to your next projects coming out, bud. And I know the last one you did, that was a good one. The best sci-fi crew ever and ship and all that. That was a great video. So As always, folks, if you catch us on the replay, make sure you go subscribe to my friends or anything on here, Mountains of Elysium, Fiona Wolf, and Classic Comics. They're well worth your time, and they're good friends of mine, and I support my friends best as I can. As for me, later this evening at 7:30 Central Time, I'll be back with the final installment of Wicked Wednesdays. We'll be doing a watch party. We'll be watching the 1990s classic Scream. Also, I have uploaded 3 brand new movie reviews and everything for this week, everything for Halloween. I did a review of Young Frankenstein, or Young Frankenstein, if you prefer, the John Carpenter classic The Fog, and Sleepy Hollow with Tim Burton with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. So be sure to go check those out and everything. And yeah, guys, one more announcement. I have figured out what I'm going to do for my 1-year anniversary. Elysium, you had to.
Werewolf, therewolf, which wolf, that wolf.
I did.
Anyways, folks, just real quick. I have decided for my 1-year anniversary stream, I'm going to do something kind of special. I am going to do a 12-hour stream. I am on the road to 350 subscribers, hopefully get to 400. And that 12-hour stream is going to involve live call-in. We're going to do some movie and TV trivia. See if you can stump me. See if you can stump the ambassador. We're going to do some karaoke, and then we're going to do a watch party at the end of that 12-hour stream, and we're going to be watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So, and I do have some new content coming up for next month and everything. So be sure to keep your eyes out for that. And with that all being said, folks, you all have a great evening or afternoon wherever you're at, and I hope to see some of you all later this evening. And until next time, this is the Ambassadors signing off.